He opened the dog food but only scooped a tiny amount into the dog's bowl. Seeing the pitiful amount of food in the bowl, the dog thought, "Are you serious?" But just as it looked up, it saw its owner only licking the food stuck to the spoon. Then he put the entire can back in the fridge. Staring at the few cans in the fridge, the man swallowed hard from hunger, but in the end, he closed the fridge, held back his hunger, and drank some tap water to fill his stomach. The dog then realized it had misunderstood its owner. It lowered its head in shame. Seeing this, the man smiled wryly, pretending not to care, and told the dog he was already full. Only then did the dog start eating. But if you looked closely, the man was sipping the water in tiny sips, savoring each one. He didn't look like someone who was full at all. This is the tear-jerking masterpiece in which veteran actor Tom Hanks, following Forrest Gump, has once again cemented his legendary status. The story of Finch takes place in the future, in 2024. A rare solar flare destroyed the entire ozone layer of the Earth. Under the intense UV radiation, humanity was nearly wiped out. The protagonist, Finch, survived by hiding in a basement beforehand. Here, he lived with his dog, depending on each other. He thought he could live out his days peacefully, but his health deteriorated due to frequent trips outside to scavenge for supplies. To ensure someone would take care of his dog after his death, he used all his knowledge to create a robot and uploaded a vast amount of dog care information into it. With the data transfer complete, the robot only needed a pair of eyes. Due to the urgency, Finch called his robotic dog over. The robotic dog, excitedly thinking it was going out to scavenge with its owner again, didn't expect the owner to reach for its eyes. Despite the reluctance, he forced himself to turn off the power. Then, dragging the robotic dog's head, he removed the eyes. As soon as Finch let go, he saw a heartbreaking scene. The loyal robotic dog lowered its head as if it had completed its mission. Finch, holding back his emotions, installed the eyes onto the robot. Thus, a simple robot was born in the basement. Finch then uploaded the 3 laws of robotics into its brain but added an extra one.
Fourth directive. In Finch's absence, robots must protect the welfare of dog. This directive supersedes all other directives.
After ensuring the robot could respond fluently, Finch was overjoyed, but before he could celebrate, the lights suddenly went out. Wearing a protective suit, Finch went to the roof and quickly repaired the wind turbine. Unexpectedly, just as Finch was about to go back, he saw thunder and lightning heading toward them under massive dark clouds. Sensing danger, Finch quickly returned to the basement. According to the robot's data analysis, the superstorm would arrive within 24 hours and, worse, it would last at least a month. But the food here wouldn't last even 3 days. To survive, Finch decided to go to the place he always wanted to go, San Francisco. Time was tight, and he couldn't wait for the robot to finish receiving all the data. He hastily assembled its limbs and taught it to walk.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Fortunately, the robot learned quickly. Thus, the whole family got busy. The robotic dog, not wanting to be idle, tried to help, but without eyes, it could only bump around the room. Seeing an unused camera, Finch had a good idea. He installed it on the robotic dog. After packing their bags, the family of 4 set off on their journey to escape. Although they were driving a well-equipped RV, Finch knew this journey was no vacation. He had to not only fend off scavengers but also teach the robot how to help the dog survive in this post-apocalyptic world. They arrived in a town where Finch decided to teach the robot how to scavenge for supplies. New to this world, the robot was curious about everything, chattering non-stop as it followed its owner.
Finch, this is a play by William Shakespeare, a dramatic comedy about love, deception, and other human misunderstandings.
Seeing his reflection in a mirror, the robot froze, ignoring Finch's calls. It opened its eyes wide as if it had gained self-awareness. This scene is also a classic shot in the film. Finch found a bag of corn kernels on a table, wanting to show the robot that this world was entirely different from the data it knew. Finch had the robot hold an iron pot they found on the roadside, then scattered the corn kernels onto it. The robot was startled, feeling the high external temperature directly, but in the next second, its playful nature kicked in, and it kept stomping its feet, asking Finch to do it again. Seeing this, Finch smiled wryly, but his smile quickly faded, and his face turned pale with fear, because the superstorm had caught up to them. Finch quickly drove the RV out of the town, but the heavy vehicle couldn't outrun the dark storm looming behind them. At a critical moment, they got out of the RV, pulled long nails and a winch from the toolbox, and prepared to anchor the RV in place. The two divided their tasks clearly and quickly secured 3 corners. Seeing the storm approaching, Finch, exhausted, couldn't hammer in the last long nail. So, the next moment, Finch took the robot's advice and got into the car. The robot stayed outside, continuing to reinforce the steel cables. Even as Finch urged him, the robot didn't budge, staying focused on the work. At the last moment before the storm hit, he hurried inside. As soon as they got in, the car began to shake violently. Under the ravaging storm, the first steel cable snapped quickly, then the second, the third. All 3 cables snapped in succession, making the situation extremely dangerous. The RV was now being blown into the air. Fortunately, the last remaining cable held until the end. After the darkness passed, they welcomed the light. With a loud crash as the RV hit the ground, the disaster finally ended. Finch then asked his companions if they were okay. The robot brought over a penguin doll, seriously saying it had found casualties. After getting out of the car, Finch realized that the robot's hammering of the long nails had saved them. He didn't expect that the robot made of broken parts could play a role at the critical moment. Finch then noticed a crack in one of the tires. Although they had a spare, they had forgotten the jack. As the man complained about what to do, the robot stopped him. Thus, the robot acted as a jack, allowing the RV to get a new tire. The man, in high spirits, decided to give the robot an official name. The robot, hearing this, excitedly stomped its feet. That night, the robot kept chattering, wanting an official name, but the man felt that with just the 2 of them, there was no need for a complicated name. The robot unhappily looked out the window, thinking for a long time, then suddenly came up with a memorable name, Jeff.
Jeff?
Jeff.
In this world, he now had a name, Jeff. The next day, they continued on their journey, but the man's health worsened, with frequent bouts of coughing up blood. So, they stopped at an abandoned restaurant to rest. The man got out with the dog, leaving Jeff to guard the supplies in the car. After they left, Jeff, feeling quite annoyed, thought he was being used as a laborer. So, while the owner wasn't nearby, he sat in the driver's seat, mimicking the owner driving. But the man heard the noise and immediately ran out.
Did you just drive the RV?
No! It did roll, though!
Hearing the robot lie, he sensed something was wrong but decided to calm him down first, coaxing him to bring over his protective suit. But Jeff thought this was encouraging education. Instead of obediently bringing the suit, he started the RV again, leaving the man in shock. As expected, things went wrong. Finch isn't worried about RV. He's just frustrated about losing control of the robot he created at the end of his life. Suppressing his anger, he called Jeff over and, without any protective measures, extended his hand outside. Under the UV radiation, his palm quickly began to smoke. The man used his self-harm to make the robot grow up faster because he didn't need friends or family. His creation wasn't for entertainment, he just wanted a reliable backup to care for the dog. Such a heartbreaking statement left Jeff speechless. After hitting the road again, he hid in the cabin and refused to come out. The man realized his words had been hurtful. To ease the tension, he decided to let Jeff drive earlier than planned. Moments ago, Jeff had been sulking, but now he was overjoyed, even learning to honk the horn with his face. Jeff started showing off again. The man was helpless with this troublemaker, feeling both love and frustration, but his time was running out.
A cold night. It's been a long time.
It's the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah?
May I ask you something? If daylight is so dangerous, why are we not traveling at night?
You think if traveling at night were safe, I wouldn't know that by now? Moving at night presents that which is not predictable. People.
Jeff thought about it all night and didn't understand what Finch said. The next morning, barking came from inside the RV. Upon entering, the man found his master vomiting blood, more severely than before. The man lay on the bed, barely conscious, and soon passed out. To save his master, Jeff drove into the city without permission. He and the robot dog arrived at a hospital, which indeed had plenty of medicine. Jeff was thrilled, thinking all this medicine would surely save his master, and began packing. Meanwhile, the robot dog found a box of cookies. In this post-apocalyptic world, even a can of food was a treasure, let alone such exquisite cookies. It was a trap. Sure enough, a hidden animal trap was triggered, and the robot dog was torn apart. The man, having awakened and worried, had come looking and heard the commotion inside. Entering, he saw the shattered robot dog, its parts scattered everywhere. Heartbroken, he knew it could never be repaired, but there was no time to grieve. He quickly found Jeff. Finch had no time to scold him and fled quickly. Unbeknownst to them, they had been spotted by nearby scavengers. As soon as the RV left, a hidden vehicle followed. To the scavengers, the man and dog in the RV were several days' worth of food. By nightfall, they were still in pursuit. Seeing no other option, the man drove the RV into a bridge tunnel, but the solar panels were too high to fit. Finally, Jeff got out and pushed it in, narrowly escaping the scavengers, but the cost was too great. Getting out, the man picked up a piece of the broken solar panel and looked at the bare bottom of the RV, feeling utterly powerless. Without solar power, the RV wouldn't go far, and they would die on the road. All of this was thanks to the robot before him. After venting his frustration, the man wearily climbed back into the RV, leaving a guilty Jeff standing outside, unsure of what to do. When Jeff came in, the man's anger had mostly subsided. He calmly began telling Jeff his story. When the disaster first struck, people began fighting over supplies. He had been chased into a supermarket by scavengers over a loaf of bread, but he hadn't warned the little girl also in the store. Soon, the scavengers came and brutally killed the girl to take the supplies. Afterward, he was consumed with guilt, blaming himself for not intervening. When he finally dared to come out, he heard a sound from the girl's pink backpack. It was her dog, who had survived. To make up for his failure to protect the girl, he always fed the dog first from then on, but the guilt grew deeper. I once despised those without morals, but when it happened to me, I found myself even more despicable. The next day, the RV slowly moved along the road. Now an experienced driver, Jeff drove while looking at postcards of San Francisco. Suddenly, a butterfly landed on the windshield. Jeff pointed at the glass, asking what it was. The man, without a word, opened the door and quickly pulled his hand back. This time, there was no burning sensation, so he bravely stepped out of the RV without a protective suit. To his amazement, the UV rays weren't strong, and the sunlight felt wonderfully warm on his skin. He greedily soaked in the first light after the disaster, but he wasn't satisfied. Back in the RV, he put on a fancy suit and set up camp right there, starting to sunbathe. While enjoying the sun, he ate a can of food he'd been saving. For the first time, he talked to Jeff about his past, the cities he'd visited before the disaster, each one fascinating Jeff. Only San Francisco remained unseen. Jeff had no concept of death, but the man now only wished for him to get along with the dog. The man threw a tennis ball, playing one last game with the dog, then handed the ball to Jeff. Watching the dog obediently retrieve it, the man felt reassured and ready to let go. Anyone who has had a dog knows that no matter who plays fetch, the dog always returns the ball to its owner. Sure enough, the dog, ball in mouth, walked past Jeff and brought it back to the man. No matter how well Jeff threw the ball, the dog wouldn't give it to him. The ball returned to the man's hand. He encouraged Jeff to keep trying. The dog would eventually bond with him, but the man didn't have much time left. He coughed up blood again, staining his expensive suit. Jeff helped him towards the RV, but the man, sensing something, broke free and hugged Jeff tightly. Jeff, head down, leaned into the man's embrace like a child. Finally, the man patted Jeff's back twice. After a long look, they silently got into the RV. This time, Jeff stayed outside. By evening, with the dog's mournful howl, Jeff knew his creator had left this world forever. They held a funeral for the man. In the firelight, Jeff, though unable to feel warmth, pulled down his hat. He wasn't afraid of heat or cold, but it was his way of remembering him. After the man left, Jeff and the dog didn't know where to go. Jeff, mimicking the man's actions, tried to open a can of food but couldn't due to his large fingers. Then, his posture suddenly straightened. It was a little surprise from the man, a can opener designed specifically for the dog. The dog finally accepted him. In the sunset, they decided to complete the journey their master couldn't finish. Eventually, they reached San Francisco on foot and buried the man under the Golden Gate Bridge. Looking at the photos of loved ones on the bridge, Jeff added their family portrait, Though it was drawn, the sentiment was no less real. Finally, they set off on their journey again. Human emotions lived on in the robot Jeff, and a new life had just begun.